In this session, we're going to discuss the Validate Data tool. This is the location within each project in which you can run test data, also called dummy data or random data generation, or RDG for short. Simply find the project in which you want to run your test data. In this case, I'm going to use Survey 4. In the navigation menu, I will now select Validate Data. Once you click on that option, you'll be sent directly to this tool. The process is quite simple. Towards the top of the screen, you'll see Test Data Entries. Right below this will be an Add Test Data button. This menu will appear in which you can create your test data. The first option is the test run name. This is not required, but sometimes a good notice for any users who come in and want to review what type of test data you're trying to run. The next field is the max number of respondents. This is the total number of respondents you wish to test through. So in this case, I'll add 100. The next field is the max completes. So let's say I only want to come up with 20 total completes. This means that you're going to run through 100 total respondents, whether they be completes or terms, and your end goal is to get 20 completes in total out of this 100. Just by doing that, you can now click on the Generate Data button at the bottom. You'll see you'll have two progress bars. The first is the total respondents out of 100, and the bottom one is the number of completes in total. And I was trying to get 20. So you can see I only needed 41 respondents to get 20 completes in this particular case. You can now close this screen if you wish, or at the bottom of the screen you can also see that there are 21 terminates. If you needed to review this, in case you weren't getting a lot of completes out of the 100, you can review and get some notifications as to why folks were terming. So in this case, I can see they were all for Q1 term 1. In a follow-up session, we can show you how this information will be helpful to be able to get through a different page path using a test data template. I'm going to close this for now. And now you'll see here's the test data run that we just created. So out of 41 total respondents, we got our 20 completes. We requested 100 in total. But since we got our 20, it stopped at 41. Tells me who processed this request, and allows me to run more if I wish. So I can just click on the run more to get another 20. Or I can click on the edit option and change some of those parameters that I indicated. Maybe I want to change the total max respondents to 200, and I want to get another 30, so I get 50 in total. You can do that at any point. Now that I've got my 20, I can scroll down towards the bottom and see the total data shown. Now here you'll see there's 22 completes, but I only got 20 using my test data generation. That's because I have, you can see here on the top line, 2 manual entries. This means that I used the testing link directly and was manually testing the survey. I'll leave that as is. And now I can truncate this area. You'll see it gives you a little bit of a summary towards the top. And then you can see on the left-hand side, this looks very, very similar to the question tree within the Build and Edit tool. So these are all the questions that have been programmed. So if I wanted to, I can click on either the full section, individual questions if that's what I'm looking for, But in this case, I'm going to click on the full section. And now you'll see in the main screen, the first question was, what is your gender? It says choose one here, which was my instructional text. Here are my response options. And now I've got counts and percents to review for my test data. So here it looks like all the males were terms, and you have 100% females. If you need to, you can expand the logic pages to review exactly what was happening. So here I can see Q1 equals 1 is a term point, so I know male at Q1, punch 1, is going to be a term point, so that's why this is a 0. So if I ever needed to verify that, I can just click on the logic area here to expand it. Or if I just want to double check what might have been on that page, it may or may not be something you wanted to look at this particular moment in time, but you continue to scroll down and then you can see your counts and percents. So this is a checkbox question. Here are the response options. Here are the counts. So this is a select all that apply type question, so that's why the numbers are all different. You do not have to select all, but in this case, this is the aggregate. So of my 20 total, in this case, which saw this question, 10 selected Apple. And the pattern continues. I can continue to scroll. 100% selected 20 at Q3, because it's the only option. Q4, I've got 22. So the reason this is a very good tool is because I can now look at something like this to indicate, okay, I've got 22 total counts here, but I've got 20 for the rest. That means that either A, I was skipping around when I was using my testing tools manually, or there might have been a skip in place at some point, and you wanted to verify that. So you can see now Q5 is now 22 as well. So if that is confusing, or you wanted to get rid of the manual tests because maybe you were making changes and did not account for that, you can expand this main area, and I can get rid of the manual entries. So there's a line item here going to the actions column on the far right for the manual entries, and it says to remove the data in this entry, you must clear all test data. So at least you have a notification here that'll tell you exactly how to do this. So it gives you the option, or you can cancel. So I'm going to delete it all. You've got a confirmation screen. I'm going to hit yes there. And I'm just going to refresh. And now you can see that everything went down to 0. So if I clear that option again, this is going to blank that out completely. I still have this test run name, so if I wanted to, I can click on run more to get my 20 again. So now I've got 40, well, I need was 43 respondents to get my 20 completes, so I'll just close here. So now if I scroll down, the completes all match at 20. So now it's more uniform and it's cleaner versus having those manual entries that could have had, again, different outcomes because maybe you were testing the survey before you're done, or maybe you were skipping around. So this way, this is completely clear and everything is done using the test data run that we created earlier. I'll truncate this and I will select all the questions again. So now I'm back to 20 as my base for this question. Again, since it's random, these are going to be different answers now. So I've got 20, 20, and 20. Internally, when we're doing any sort of full service work for any clients, usually we'll go into this particular tool before we even send the client the test link to review in order to verify things just like this. Base sizes look to be correct. If I needed to validate any sort of skip patterns and look at logic to confirm that and see that the counts were appropriate, then I would be able to use this tool to confirm that. It also allow you to review filters and any other sort of patterns in which you were programming to account for. And that is an overview of the Validate Data tool.